Hello everybody and welcome back to another ForgeCraft Modpack with me, TechnoJock. Last episode we'd made our lovely looking blood altar here, and we'd got it going with some Steve's Factory Manager stuff, which is all nicely hidden for us. And as you'll see between episodes, I have upgraded this to a nice tier 2 altar, and even gone as far as to upgrade it with some speed runes. Haven't done the corner ones because although these do need to be blood runes, the altar itself doesn't gain any benefit from having these beyond just a regular blood rune. The speed runes here, though, however, make it a lot quicker. So as you can see, we have 32 blank slates here, and if I take a few of these out, it'll suddenly spring to life again with this putting more stone in to make another rune. But as you saw, once it reaches 32, it swiftly took it back out. So we've got a fair bit of cool automation going on here under the hood. And if I'll quickly just show you what we've done. We've got our camouflage stuff that we had before, so that's cool. But we've got our thing here. We've got a little bit of advanced stuff. We've got a command group. So although this looks like one single thing here, if we go into it, you'll see there's actually a fair bit going on. Now, I'll quickly run through this stuff. I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but we're checking, first of all, is there more than one bucket of essence in the altar? Yes, there is. Good, we can carry on to this bit. Is there more than 32 blank slates in our box? Yes, there is. In which case, it goes down here and carries on, and it goes out of the node. If there is not more than one bucket of essence in the altar, it also exits out of the node. So only if there's more than one bucket and less than 32 blank slates will it go on to this bit here, where it will take from the blood altar any of these blood orbs. So at the moment we've only got the weak blood orb, but right the way up through to our tier 6 orb, which we will eventually have, it will take them out. All of these, I must note, are set to fuzzy detection because the weak blood orbs have to be bound to a particular player. Now, binding it to one bound to me is obviously going to be slightly different to one bound to anybody else, so it's going to be a fuzzy detection. That will take out any of these blood orbs and it will put that back into our chest, so it will store it. So if we've got a blood orb in there soaking up essence and suddenly we get less than 32 blank slates, it's going to pull the blood orb out of the altar, and then it's going to take stone from the chest, put it into the altar, and then it will take the slate from the altar once it's done, see, and then put that into the chest. So it's only taking slates and putting them into the chest, and again no, I'm not. Yeah, that's what's happening there. So, if we come out of that, so if it has already got more than 32 blank slates, or there's not enough blood in the altar to make a blank slate, it's coming out of there, and it is taking from the blood altar. What's it taking from the blood altar? It is blacklisting any of these, so it'll take anything except a blood orb out of the altar and put it back into that chest. So if there was a bit of stone or a slate or something in the altar, it will wheak it out of there, and then it'll take from the skystone chest and put into the blood altar. What's it taking there? It's taking an orb out and putting it in. So if there's a blood orb in the thing here, actually, where is my blood orb? There it is. Let's pop that into there, and it should pop it straight in there. Alright, so that's going to happily refill our soul network with, or blood network or whatever, with that, and it's going to soak it up. But if I take some out, immediately it takes the blood orb out and puts that in there. So it's prioritizing that, and then, boom, we've got more than 32 in. It's taken the stone that was in there out, and it's put our blood orb back in. but we're doing that in there at the moment. So that's really cool. That's supplying us with lots of blood orbs and stuff, but we've got a long way to go. That's only tier 2, and it's going to be very, very difficult or time consuming for us to get up to the biggest tiers that we want to get to. Now, the whole reason that we're really doing this is so we can transport our nodes back and forth. The tainted one down there we can bottle up. I don't mind if that one becomes a fading node, but we've invested an awful lot of time and effort into our hungry node, and we don't want to damage that when we transport it. And the cheaty way of doing, well, it's not a cheaty way of doing it, but the cross mod way of doing that is by using translocators. Not translocators. No, what is it called? It's not transvector. There's so many trans thingies, and there's 68 pages of it. What is this thing? I can't remember. Blood magic stuff. I'll recognise it when I see it. No, that's all that stuff. These things. Teleposition focuses. So we need to be able to get these things. Right. Teleposition. Right, so we need this thing, the teleposer. That's a teleportation block. So we'll need 2 of those, and then we need these things, these foci. So each one of these is a tier level. So this one will telepose the block on top of this teleposer, so one single block. This one will do a 3x3 block. This one will do a 5x5 block, and then this one will do a 7x7 block. Now, we only really need the first one because the node is only one block. But we do need to be able to get to this point. But it needs to have a tier 4 altar to get one teleposition focus. We need one focus for each of the blocks, and then we need a focus to go in one of the blocks. It acts kind of like a card that saves the position that you're swapping to. So we need that. Everything else is very simple, but we do need to be able to get to this tier 4 altar. That's going to be a fair bit of work. Now, the more observant of you will have just noticed that I had something else typed into here before, and that is resonant health pad. Because standing here and hurting yourself is time consuming, to say the very least. I mean, we've got our healing axe, so we can keep ourselves nicely well fed, so we do heal, but it's a pretty slow process, and we need to speed that up a bit. We do have some other things that we'll be able to do cleverly later on. We can get a mob farm that's going to be able to get us our essence here. But until we get to that point, which is a fair bit further down the road, we need to be able to heal up a little bit quicker. So that resonant health pad is probably going to be our easiest way of doing this. Now, I think before we go any further, that slime is going to really get on my nerves. So let's just take care of him before he does anything I regret. There we go. Now, let's go back around here. I think I've got everything I need. I already have a tesseract on me. So we need to get that and that. So to be able to make this, we've got all of this stuff. Essentially, we need a resonant flux capacitor, which is built upon each level of the previous flux capacitor. I'm going to spend too much time on that. We need a resonant machine frame, which is built on every level of machine frame before that. I have ender 2 golden apples and some enderium. Should be relatively easy. Like that, I think. If I do that, gives me the leadstone one then, and I think Invar and... let's have a look. Invar and tin. Tin. Aha, tin. And then we've got electrum and a diamond, is it? It is indeed. And then, yeah, we had another 3, and that was going to be inderium and pyrotheum dust. Gets us our resonant flux capacitor. We need then the machine frame, so we need to make a tin gear, like that. We surround that with that and those to get that. Now, we need 1 electrum gear. Check. We need a signalum gear. And we need an inderium gear. Like that. And we need our... Now, how do we do this again? Normal machine frame with invar and the electrum. Like that. Signalum with the hardened glass. Like that. And then the inderium, I think with the silver, isn't it? It is. Like that. Then we can put our eye vendor on the top. We can put our golden apples there, our resonant capacitor, and then the inderium round it. And that's not right because those golden apples are not the correct golden apples. Haha! It's the normal golden apples, not the enchanted ones. So that makes it a little bit cheaper, but yeah. Do I not have those ones learned? Well, that's not a huge deal. That's just an apple with gold, so like that. And apple. I thought it was the one with gold blocks around it. Doesn't matter. And I didn't do that at all well. I am derping. Well, let's just learn it anyway, and we'll put these ones back in here. Once that's learned, take 2 of them, and we'll be good to go. So, 2 of them. Back round to our crafting table, crafting station. Excellent. 1 resonant health pad and our tesseract. So I'm hoping I can make this go underneath somewhere really helpful. Possibly beneath the box might be a way to do it. Need to do something about this. Wow. There we go. Right. Maybe if we try and put it underneath the box or something like that, the chest. It would be good if we could have it there. I don't know how big a range this has got. I'm not altogether sure how I point it in the right direction either. Okay, so that's pointing in the wrong direction. It's also got a very funny texture on it. It appears to have little pumpkins there, some sort of sapling. That looks like an MFR thing. Yeah, so that's a little bit screwy at the moment. Not so great. I wonder how I'm going to do this. Actually, I've got the grimstone block. I can put that there. Now, if I... Actually, it's going to be... Maybe some sort of wrench. Might be better. Yep. Now, let's see. Yeah, let's go back up. I should maybe manage to aim this onto the top of that block from here. There we go. Now, if I stand up here, it should be able to get me. And I could have probably just put the tesseract underneath it. I'll keep that there for the moment. Now, that is taking in energy, isn't it? Yep, receiving energy, and that is powered. Superb. Right, is it going to heal us from through the box, through the chest? Let's find out. Yep, that's working. The texture is a little bit weird, but it is healing us faster, so that's pretty handy. That should make us be able to do this a fair bit quicker. Let's take this divination sigil and see how we're doing for essence. We're 7,000. And then we can go 9,600. 10,000. Okay, and that's healing us up. Not the fastest in the world, but better than it was. And of course we can still use regeneration potions at the same time, and we've got our healing axe to help as well. It certainly is going a little bit faster than it was, so that will help. But as you can see, we're not making any tablets at the moment because we've got over our 32 blank slates that I specified in the machine manager to get us through. So what do we need to do to get to the next level? Well, by referring to an online document, I can tell you that what we need to do is replace these stones here. All of these ones along here and these ones here along, not the corner ones, but these ones here, they all need to be some form of rune, be it a normal blood rune or a speed rune or one of the other ones. So they all need to be done. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, so that's 20 in total. And then these two blocks on each corner need to be non-air blocks. So I'm hoping our machine inventory manager cable one there counts. It should do. It's not an air block, certainly, so that should work. And then the top one needs to be a glowstone brick, and it can't be a chiseled glowstone brick. It's just got to be regular vanilla glowstone like that. But that'll work. So we need 20 of those runes. So let's have a look and see what runes we've got. So there's the standard blood rune, fine. Then there's these ones, augmented capacity we're not too fussed about, and dislocation, again, we're not too fussed about. That one means that we can store more in the altar. This one means that we can move liquids out of it quicker, I think. Rune of the Orb means that our blood orb can store more. Superior capacity is kind of an upgraded version of that one. Rune of Acceleration is an upgraded version of our speed rune. Efficiency means it takes less of the essence or blood or whatever you want to call it to make things in the altar. Rune of Sacrifice means we get more essence from sacrificing mobs to it, and Rune of Self-Sacrifice is similar, which means we get more essence from harming ourselves. Now, to be able to get that, we need to get these reinforced slates, and they are made in a tier 2 altar by using these black slates. So we actually have a tier 2 altar, and it needs 2000 LP. So what we need to do is change our program, or make an addition to our program, because this is only taking into account the blank slates. We now need to add reinforced slates. So essentially, exactly this again. It needs 2 buckets, and again we're going to want 32 of them, but essentially it's going to be this again, and add it onto this. So we'll have 4 reinforced slates, and then it'll come out and it'll do this again. So I'm going to just go off and do that, and we'll get going and get reinforced slates as well, and then we'll be able to get our next lot of blood runes and make up to the tier 3. So I shall see you in a second. Okay, I think I've got this all sorted out now. It's a little bit of a logistical nightmare, and it's quite apt that I'm doing this on the anniversary of Boole's birthday, of his 200th birthday, because it's all to do with Boolean logic. Now, if we have a look at our divination sigil, we have got 1400 LP in here. We have got 32 blank slates, but we've only got 15 reinforced slates, and we've set it so we want 32 reinforced slates. So why isn't it doing anything? Well, it takes 2 buckets of essence to be able to make, or 2000 LP to be able to make, to change a blank slate into a reinforced slate. It takes 1000 to go from stone to blank slate, and it takes 2000 to go from blank slate to reinforced slate. So there's not enough to actually go up. So it needs 2 buckets in there. If I go and empty a fair whack in, being careful not to kill myself, you can see that goes up to over 4,700, and it's taken a blank slate and has put it in there. And it has made another slate. Now, of course, it used one of the blank slates to do that, so it's taken some normal stone and put it in there just now to make the blank slate that we're missing. Makes that, but it keeps it in there because it needs 32 to be able to, 32 of these. So it's doing that just now, and that's fine. But you'll note it has just gone below 2 buckets again. So yes, it made that one, but it did not. And we've got 32 blank slates in there, so it has stopped again. So let's have a look and see. I had to change up the flow diagram a fair bit in here. So now everything is separated out. We've got the bit that handles, here we go. The bit that previously was handling putting the blood orb back in when nothing else was happening is handled by this. The trigger is split 2 ways, that's all this does. The first condition is looking for in the inventory for 32 blank slates and 32 reinforced slates. If both of those are satisfied, then it goes into this flow. If the blood altar does not have any essence in it, I've put 1 millibucket, but basically if it's got anything less than 1 millibucket, or if it's got anything more, then that would be true. But if it's got 1 millibucket or less, or just less than 1 millibucket, it rolls out false and goes into this flow as well, which will then take our blood orb and put it into the altar. Takes out anything that's in the blood altar that's not a blood orb and puts a one of our blood orbs into the altar. So that's that one. That is separate. These are not connected in any way. I did have them before connected, but they're not anymore. So our blank slates one checks for a bucket of essence and for 32 blank slates. So if there's more than a bucket, but there's less than 32 blank slates, it will take the orb out, take stone from the chest into the altar, and then once the slate has been made in the altar, it'll take slates out and put them back into the chest. Exactly the same for the reinforced slates, other than it's looking for 2 buckets of life essence, and it's looking for reinforced slates there, and it will put blank slates into the altar and take out reinforced slates when they're ready. So essentially, what happens next is, our next tier up will be looking for, I can't remember what the name of the slate is, but we will be adding another group for the next slate, and then we will add in here. Let's have a look and see what is in here for slates. Go right the way down to the bottom. There we go. Reinforced slate was that one. It'll be imbued slates. So imbued slates are next. We would add it in there. We would say 32 in this bit, and that would handle that. And then we would put in a whole section for imbued slates, which would be essentially identical to this, only the essence amount would be different, and it would handle slates rather than imbued slates rather than reinforced slates. So that is that, and I think that's working rather well just now. So where are we at? Stuck in a hole. Right. We've got 16 reinforced slates and 32 blank slates, and a way of getting lots more. What did we want to get? Now, I think we should probably be looking at more self-sacrifice runes, because that's what we're doing at the moment. We're doing self-sacrifice. So, actually, that was exactly what we did want. We want these rune of self-sacrifice. So we've got these reinforced slates that are coming in now. That's great. We've got loads of glowstone, and we can make, I think we need the next blood orb up, the apprentice one, which is, yeah, an emerald in a tier 2. So what do we want to do? We want to put in Well, actually, we want to get up to 32 reinforced slates before we do anything else. So I'll see you in a second. I'll go get an emerald ready for this, and then I'll see you when we've got 32 blank slates. How about that? Okay, we're back, and we now have 32 blank slates and 32 reinforced slates. Didn't take a huge length of time, but then I did use some potions of regeneration 2, and our healing axe, and I ate some, and we had our charge pad thing. So if you didn't have a huge amount of resources like I do, if you were starting this a little bit earlier in the game, this would be horrendous. So we've got 5,000 LP here. We've got an emerald. We're going to pop. It doesn't like that. Okay, there's something with our program that doesn't like that. Let me check and see what's going on. Think I've found it. In the last bit here for sticking the orb back into the altar, I've done it so if all the slates are there and there's no essence in the altar, it takes anything except blood orbs out, and I think that's wrong. I think what I should be doing is whitelisting any stone or slates. So I'm going to get rid of these. I'm going to take the flow off at the moment so we avoid things happening. So if we do that and we do a white list of just normal stone and slates, and we put in blank slates, reinforced slates, imbued slates. Now it doesn't really matter, demonic slates and ethereal slates, because it doesn't matter that we don't actually get these at the moment, or it shouldn't do, and I think that'll work. If I go back up here now, it should be still all functioning in a happy manner. So if we pop that in there, it'll stay in there, and we should be good now. I'll just put in an extra little bit of blood just in case there's an issue, and this should now be swallowing up all our life points, or whatever you want to call them, LP, essence, blood. It's going, it's going, it's going. It should be ready any moment now. There it goes. And we have our apprentice blood orb. And there we go. We have bound it to us. So now it is current owner Technoshock. Excellent. That should be fine. So let us get our reinforced slates, of which we need 20 of these, so we need 40 reinforced slates. So I'm going to need to take that out, and we need another 8 before we can go any further. So it's back to harming myself, and we'll do this and get the other 8 runes that we need in just a moment, and I'll be back again in a second. Just waiting on this one last one to do. It should be done any moment now. No, it didn't do. Why did it jumped out when it was at the 2000 mark? I think that's still doing something funny. I may have to address that soon enough. Right. That should do it. Yeah, that'll do it. So any minute now. There we go, we have 40. So let's go and make the runes that we require. Just double check this. The runes of self-sacrifice, we need that orb. We need some more stone, which we can get over here. And glowstone. So stone. Well, let's get, we don't need, what do we need? We need, yeah, we need 40 of this. Boop. And normal stone. We need It's really rather irritating how it's doing that. And there's no way we can narrow this down to, you know, a different kind of stone. Is that not gonna... Right, okay, we'll just do it that way. And we need 80 of this. Oh, for God's sake. Is there not an easier way of doing this? Yeah, there's got to be an easier way, but never mind. We'll just do it this way. It's just because there's so many things called stone, and there's no way to narrow down stone. Right. Let us make our... like that, like that, like that, like that, like that, and like that, and like that, and like that, and then put our thing in the middle. Boop! 20 of those. There we go. Let's go and swap them over and see our lovely altar become a tier 3 altar. So, careful, careful not to break things that we don't want to break. Right, and then like that. And let's just go take all this out just now. And that, and this will make life substantially easier. There we go, and now one tier 3 altar, and if we stand here and do this a little bit more, look how much more essence is going into there. Just a few clicks and it's well up to 6,000 there quite quickly. So I'm going to go, I think that's us at the wrapping up point. I think I'm going to go and I'm going to get as much runes as I can. We'll need to put in the next tier, so it'll be the imbued slates I think are next. So I shall get enough of them sorted out and I'll get runes for this layer. I'm not quite sure what kind of runes. Maybe we'll do a mixture of speed and self-sacrifice. Certainly too many speed ones and we won't be able to keep up with it. But I think we don't want too many more self-sacrifice ones. In fact, the sacrifice ones are just gold. Might look at investing in some of those, but I think a mixture of those ones and the speed ones will be a good idea, and we will be back. We won't be able to make the tier 4 straight away because we need to get the large bloodstone bricks to go on the top of these towers here. Like the glowstone is there, we'll need large bloodstone bricks, and we've got to get some special things before we can do that much. So we've got a bit of off-camera work to do, but not a huge amount, and I shall see you next time. Bye-bye, everybody, and remember, in all seriousness actually, self-harming's really stupid, so don't do it. This is just a game, just much like stabbing zombies in the face is part of the game, and it's a silliness. So is bloodletting, really. So, in all seriousness, just don't do it. But do have a funs, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.